thank you for tuning in. My name is Steven Bronken, and this is Season 2, Episode 6 of The Corner Office. Today, my special guest is Monika Nerger. She's the Group Global Chief Information Officer for Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group, which is a great hotel chain. If you ever get a chance to stay there, please do. Today, we're coming to you live from the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in beautiful Miami, Florida. And you're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of this episode to watch, because we've got a special treat for you, thanks to Monika and her husband, Joe. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Monika, welcome to the show.
Steven, here we are, and you're in Miami, apparently.
I'm in Miami at the beautiful Mandarin Oriental, of course, here, right on the waterfront.
Thank you for being a fan and a guest of our property. What a view from our bar.
You bet. Where else would I be, right? That's my normal habitat, is the bar of any venue.
Well, we have 33 other hotels that we would love you to be at the same time, but thank you.
I'm going to get there for sure. I'm going to knock one down the list as soon as COVID releases me, I'll be starting to knock them off the list. So good. So, of course, you know, this is a drinking show as well as a joke show, but what are you drinking today, Monika?
Well, first of all, a fine bottle of Honig 2016 Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, very nice.
Give you a little salute.
Oh, cheers. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Little off-camera cheers action there. That's good.
So I discovered this completely by accident in New York, little wine store. I was looking for a reasonably priced wine, and Honig actually means honey in German. And I thought, okay, give it a whirl. And it ended up being probably the most gifted wine that I've given anyone. And for my good friends who have gifted me cases, thank you very much. It is a spectacular Cabernet. And what I love about it is the value of, it's a very small family-owned vineyard, and they're very keen on sustainability. So they run the entire vineyard on solar panels.
Yep.
And they just produce small batch, 40 to 50,000 cases. They only produce two types of wine, Cabernet Sauvignon or Sauvignon Blanc. That's it.
Wow.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. Well, that sounds like a great type. I wonder if the bears like it.
We can check outdoors here in Lake Tahoe. So I should say they're in the Rutherford region.
Okay.
Your Napa wines are sort of right in the center.
Very nice. Well, that's cool. I'll have to try it at some point. Good stuff. So I myself, I'm drinking a...
Oh, yes. What, Steven, what are you drinking?
No worries.
That's a slick handover.
I'm drinking a great big friggin' red. So one would think it was named after me. It wasn't. But it's from Malagash, Nova Scotia. Of course, a Nova Scotian wine. I was originally going to try to find an Ontario wine in honor, of course, of your heritage. But yeah, fellow Canadian right there. but unfortunately, I went with the Malagash.
Well, very nice selection. I think we were talking a bit about wines before. The Okanagan wines are doing so well in China. And they're selling up to $1,000 a bottle. So get your Canadian wine now when you can.
Wow, that's impressive. A friend of mine, actually, who was on the show prior, he's actually Greg Beatty. Of course, I'm sure you know him from his days in APAC. His family lives in Thailand, and he was saying from Nova Scotia, not so much the wine, but the imports of lobster. Every day they've got thousands and thousands of pounds of lobster flown into Thailand, and it's $70 a pound there. Whereas here you can get it for about 5 to 7 Canadian. So,
really? Well, you are East Coast Canada.
Yeah, exporting is definitely something that Canada loves to do, because we've got great products, right? And great people to export as well, yourself included.
I didn't know I was an export, but thank you.
Yeah, sure, why not, right?
Global citizens we are.
Global citizens, absolutely. So, of course, you know how my show goes. We start with a drink and then we get right into a joke. So, what kind of joke you got for us today?
All right, I got to go for the pinch hitter moment here. I'm going to tap in my husband, Joe.
Ta-da!
Welcome, Joe.
Since I did such a good job handing off and asking you about your wine.
Okay.
Joe, you go.
This will be
joke.
A Scottish gentleman is in the bar. He's got his drink just served to him, and he's sitting down at the bar, and a fly falls in his drink. He picks the fly up by his wings and goes, "Spit it out," because he doesn't want to miss a drop.
Yeah.
That's
a
it.
good one, Joe. That's a good one.
It's a good one for a drinking show.
Yeah, it works. Good stuff. All right, so let's get into the kind of the meat and potatoes of this, of course. So Mandarin Oriental, of course, is a global company, global properties all over the world. You have a unique advantage point of seeing what's been going on in different regions and different times. So, how has a recent, COVID-19 crisis impacted Mandarin Oriental's business, and really, what have you changed moving forward?
Sure. Well, a few things. We're in 23 different countries. So the crisis, as the wave has gone, has followed us around the globe. At one point, I think most of our properties either had no guests or were closed due to country regulations or safety or other reasons that were determined. So it was a very difficult time. And if you look at the typical guest for Mandarin Oriental, these are high net worth individuals that travel internationally. So you can imagine it's a real challenge. Now, what do we do? Mm-hmm. What is the of our business? And I think there have been some fantastic green shoots that show us hope, from Bodrum in Turkey to China. So where we've been able to open, we can see the pent-up demand. And the demand at the luxury level is, we feel, quite sustainable. I think what's important is that we've discovered, you have to stay true to your DNA, true to your brand.
It's definitely hit, I think, all of us quite deeply. And you attend the HT&G COVID call weekly as well.
Absolutely, which is just, amazing how everyone's come together on these calls from India to Dubai. We're all facing the same challenges, of course. And it's not just a guest, where are our guests and how do we bring them back? Yeah. But also, with my heart, I really feel for our colleagues and employees that are going through this with us, and our partners and vendors. It's the entire community. Yeah. And I was speaking with one of our general managers the other day, and he said something that caused me to pause and reflect, and that was, it is harder to reopen a hotel and bring our colleagues back. Sure enough, there's a doorbell.
Is that a wine delivery?
As expected, the wine delivery is here.
We were only going to drink one on this show, but we could go into a few. That's great. I've got time.
Well, cheers. It is harder for our colleagues to come back to work and reopen a hotel with all of the different specialized things that we now need to do, delivering that quality and service and excellence and guest recognition and all the things that we're known for, when they themselves, are facing what we all face, a lot of uncertainty and challenges and how to homeschool kids and take care of life. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, the way I look at this is that it's not just a hospitality problem getting people to travel again. It's also, the airlines and the rental agencies and so forth. And one of the things that actually made me feel more comfortable this week is the Canadian carrier, Air Canada, actually announced that they were instituting a complimentary travel insurance for COVID-19 for anyone traveling out of the country of up to $200,000. They just announced it this past week. So it's all different segments of the industry are trying to get everybody going back. And sure. Definitely health insurance in something like this is key. So I think that, we're getting there. Again, things are going to
I
real
think,
quick.
you raise again another good point, and that is how we work together as an industry. So it's not just hotels and rental cars and cruise ships and airlines. It's all how the pieces come together. And you can imagine, as an industry, we spent so much time trying to take the friction out of this and create these wonderful experiences. And now at every single checkpoint, temperature check, wellness form, questionnaire, and they're all different. They're all different. So brands are doing things differently, restaurants are doing things differently than hotel restaurants. And somehow we need to work the process so that this is really, truly still enjoyable for people to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And not even that, I mean, countries are doing things differently, and provinces or states within those are doing things differently.
Right.
It's so many levels of, I don't know, just, yeah, exactly. That we've got to jump through in order just to get somebody back in the air again, or back at a hotel again, for sure. So, all right. So what about recommendations for those in the industry? You know, what do you and the team at Mandarin Oriental, you know, what have you come up with to kind of help folks get back there?
Well, as I said, you know, embrace your DNA, remember what your brand stands for, and that could be a small independent hotel or it could be a large brand. Take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Every people. This is, at the end of the day, an industry about caring for other people. I know that we're all a little concerned about the future as it relates to travel, group travel, and so forth. I think actually that's a moment of opportunity for us to reimagine how our industry can serve in these areas. And I just want to remind, I'm sure you remember Barry Schuller, who is the CTO of Marriott. And 10 years ago, he wrote a book called Virtual Travel, Embrace or Expire. I'm sure a lot of us thought at that time it was impossible to imagine a world where our industry would be serving guests in a virtual way. And here we are. So there's lots of opportunity for startups and tech companies and people to work together and develop new experiences that I think are enjoyable. I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form they're going to replace everything as we know it today, but we can already see the impact of consumer technologies and how that impacts our business going forward.
Oh, that's a great point. And you're right, Barry's book was very forward-thinking, right?
Very forward-thinking. I don't think 10 years ago anybody believed that this was even conceptually possible.
Very true. Yeah. I'll actually put a link to that in this video so that, you know, if folks are looking to get a hold of that book, it's definitely a great read. So good stuff. All right. So, you know, post-COVID, where do you see the industry going after this, you know, in the next few years?
Well, that's the crystal ball that we all wish we had, right?
Yeah, true.
As I said, I do think it's going to be an uneven recovery. You know, we can start there. And different markets are going to come back in different ways. Mm-hmm. I feel very fortunate to be part of a company that has a strong brand and is in the luxury segment, where I do think recovery in our markets is coming fairly quickly. But there's a lot left to do. And, you know, the whole point about virtual travel and creating experiences, we have to somehow figure out how to bring this all together, because the reality is it might take some time. And if you listen to the leaders of the various companies and hotel brands speak, they're looking at a 2, 3, 4 year cycle of recovery before we get back to 2019 levels.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not a bad thing, because through this will also surface some good stuff. You know, when I think about travel 1950 to 70 years fast forward to 2020, it's a world of change. Mm-hmm. And not all of those changes were great. So this is our chance to make some of them better around sustainability, around bringing the H back into hospitality. Mm-hmm. And while I respect everybody as I said, in the whole ecosystem, asset managers, owners, property managers, GMs, you name it, our partners, everybody needs to find their right path, but it is an opportunity to maybe shift that focus back into true hospitality.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And well said. Well said. I mean, we've got to get back, but we should be able to leverage, you know, the COVID event if we treat it the right way, we can leverage COVID in the same way that the Apple iPhone changed our industry, right? If we use what we learn now and kind of pivot with that technology, we can grow and expand and provide that better guest experience than ever before, based on added knowledge and added devices and added complexity. So,
and that's really been the history of our industry. We look at the consumer technologies, and then we follow and we figure out how to incorporate them into our world. And that's exactly where we are. So we might be reimagining some of those meeting rooms with big screens that incorporate Zoom calls, and you can reach a much broader audience. And there's so many things that are happening at this moment in time, and I think a lot of them are very good and opportunistic for those who want to get involved.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, Monika, I definitely appreciate you being here, and of course Joe pinch hitting with his joke. That was great. That hopefully that fly doesn't get too drunk drinking that stuff. Thank you both for being here. This has been great. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, mate.
Well, that's a wrap for the Corner Office this week. A great big thanks to both Monika and Joe for being my guests this week. I've included Monika's contact information below should you wish to reach out to her. Additionally, for more information on Safety NetAccess, our products and our services, please don't hesitate to visit our website, www.safetynetaccess.com. Please stay tuned for an extra special treat from Joe to try and get us in the right mood. Thanks, everyone. Until next time, be safe, be healthy, be well, and hey, don't forget to be happy. Cheers, everyone.
I've been reading that maybe people are drinking a little bit more than they have during this crisis. And we always want to make sure you have a way to check, call it sobriety. And so we've got this little drinking game. Mm-hmm. And normally you would do it with your friends and go around the room. But in the interest of time, we're just going to whip right through it. And this is a good way for you to test.
This drinking game goes like this. When you mess up, you're supposed to take it's supposed to be shots. So okay. You can just imagine what would happen with this game.
There's it in one fell swoop.
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1.
One fat hen, a couple of ducks, 3 brown bears, 4 running hares, 5 foolish females, 6 simple Simons sitting on a stump taking a dump, 7 silly Sicilian sailors sailing the 7 seas, 8 egotistical egotists, egotistically echoing egotistical ecstasies, 9 nimble nymphs nibbling on 9 gnats' knuckles and knees. I'm not the fig plucker nor the fig plucker's son, but I'll pluck figs till the fig plucker comes. Now,
if you can do that,
you do it like that. You say one fat hen, and then the other person repeats that, and then you go one fat hen, a couple of ducks,
wow.
and so on. So you get to the very end. And
so I'm not suggesting that this is your right to go driving afterwards, but if you can get through the fig plucker carefully, you're probably in good shape. So with that, I thought maybe just to leave this a little positive note, because we all need a little bit of optimism in our lives. And my husband, Joe, as many of you know, is a musician, and he's been kind enough to play a little song for us. It's a beautiful sentiment. It's called Here Comes the Sun.
All right.
Great stuff.
Here we go. Okay. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. And here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I said it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
That was great, Joe. That was very
Thanks.
good.
Thanks, Steven. And hey, cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for doing
You know, cheers to both of you. The only thing I can play well is the radio.